Is Apple saying something with today's weakness about the larger markets, or is this just a typical price movement range ebb and flow? Let's deep dive that and see, with this quirky week of a midweek bank holiday and then options expiration, what we could be dealing with a swing trade in Apple. So swing meaning I'm going to take this overnight and look at the opportunity to take this into next Friday. So really, I want to weather June 21 OpEx and take this into some strength going into next Friday, June 28th. All right, so what do we have here? Let's start at the top of the food chain. And this is the way we always want to think about alignment. Index to sector to stock. So of course, that's going to really be primarily the Nasdaq. Nas was heavier earlier this morning. We haven't had just smooth sailing in the Nas. It's not the way Monday's session was, but that's okay. We are still very much, take a look at this daily time frame on the right side. We are still very much levitating right around yesterday's close. In fact, we're still marginally above the previous session close at 20,187. This is not a weak day. It's just not a day that we're going straight up. So there's still support here, and let's not ignore the fact we absolutely have an uptrend. So within the context of an uptrend, I'm calibrating to higher highs and higher lows. That's the backbone of an uptrend, is the higher low. The attention getter of an uptrend is the higher high. So clearly today is not an attention getting day, but the backbone, the support of the uptrend is most definitely intact. All right, so then moving on to the sector. That would take us to XLK. One interesting thing happening within the XLK is that for the most part, when cracking open the technology sector, there hasn't been a lot of broad-based strength. In other words, it's not as if we can crack that open, take a look at the top 10 or 11 stocks and say they're all moving up. For the most part, the strength has been focused on Apple, on AVGO, NVIDIA, and Oracle. Now today, Microsoft is actually showing the first signs of potentially some strength. So as we move forward, not only into OpEx, but beyond, if we can complete this transition from what has been a neutral Microsoft for most of June into an uptrend, you can see it here on the bottom of this chart, this green segment there. This would be a great insight into Microsoft continuing with the higher highs and higher lows. And Microsoft is absolutely, with or without that uptrend, is a candidate for long calls if we trade down into the support of the price movement range. All right, so then that brings us to Apple. Knowing what's going on in other stocks within XLK, right, which Apple is going to move with, you can see here that Apple sunk into the daily price movement range. It did so yesterday too, but with a lot of volatility. In fact, we hit the second standard deviation yesterday. We darn near hit the first standard deviation today. One of the things that I like to do is armchair quarterback myself anytime I'm looking at a setup. And by all rights, looking at the extreme amount of volatility we saw yesterday, when I see that, I have an aggressive trigger, I have the middle of the range moderate, and I have the conservative, and then I have the first and second standard deviations. And when I see that volatility is high, by all rights, I should be open to a first or second standard deviation move or the conservative. So if I can go back and armchair quarterback myself, ideally after coming off a very volatile session here, I should have been calibrated a little bit more to a moderate or conservative. Either way, Apple is holding that daily price movement range, and you can see we're almost right back up to that upper edge in Apple at about 215, there. The upper edge was 215.11. All right, so we're right back almost to that level, and that shows what I would expect when price sinks into a price movement range, the gray zone, which is a bid, which is support. All right, so there's not a big message here. I think the reminder has got to be that Nasdaq continues to be the leading index. Even the S&P, which is at an uptrend, is benefiting from the strength in semiconductors and tech. So why not just go towards where the leadership is coming from? And that continues to be tech. that continues to be semiconductors, and that continues to be looking at uptrends in both the XLK and the SMH. In the premium video, I'm going to dive into something I call the multi-charts. And what the multi-charts do is allow me to see what are the relative outperformers within the different sectors. And in the case of XLK, let me give you a look at that. Where is that notion coming from, and what are we going to do when we break down these in the premium video? I'm going to look at this grid right here. It's a flexi grid within Thinkorswim with the top 11 stocks ordered in their weight, heaviest to lightest, top 11, and this is what I'm looking at, right? Microsoft, Apple, AVGO, NVIDIA, and down here, Oracle. If we can calibrate our watch lists to those symbols that have the best possibility of follow through, then we are living the truth of trading, which is what we trade. The symbol that we focus on is more important than how we trade it. Meaning a buy the dip trader could do fine, a breakout trader can do fine, etc. But it's the structure that pays us all. All right. So that's the breakdown there. The breakdown of what's going on as we're going into that bank holiday tomorrow. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.